Hello and welcome back to how to make a dialog editor tutorial with GraphView. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna call it. So last time we made the scripts, so now we're actually going to fill out the scripts with delicious code. So let's open up the GraphView, the dialog editor window. Let me just look at my notes, so we at least know what we're doing. Right, so the editor, we need to make our editor window, and I like to go control and dot, as this will open up. It's just a lot faster, but you can also go quick actions, and this way you will see the using Unity editor. So now it has the Unity editor up there. That also means we don't need those anymore. Alright, so now let's make a private dialog dialog container. It means so we know which dialog container we are looking in right now. So when we are saving and loading it, it actually knows it's the current dialog container. So let's just current dialog. Oh, let's just remove the OS there. All right. We also need a reference to the dialog GraphView. Just gonna call it GraphView here. All right. Um, oh, sorry. All right. So we need a couple of methods in here. The first one will be onEnable and onDisable, I guess. Yeah, I couldn't remember what they were called. Alright, so this means when it opens up and we will close it down. So that's sort of nice to have. And the three main things we need is we're not going to make them for a while, but it's always nice to have them. So we're going to have a load and a save. So we just have the load and save function, and we can just go to do loaded and to do save it. Just so we have them in here, so we can just already set up the we'll call it the ability to actually change it later on a lot. So we can call it now, but we haven't added the functionality. Then we also need the option to change language. Let's just oh, I can't spell for the life of me. So we have our language as well. And again, to do language. And probably not spelled correctly, but I'm gonna fuss over that at the moment. Alright, so we actually need some editor tools. Let's see, where should we put it? Let's put it under here. So first we need to actually construct the graph view. So we're gonna make one called simply construct the graph view. Uh, construct the graph view. Alright. So this means we will make a. We haven't made the graph view for now, so let's just do to do at oh, graph view. Then we need to have one to actually generate all the toolbars. So we're going to make one simply called generate toolbar. Oh, toolbar, there we go. And I think the last one, was, no, I think this is it for now. Alright. And And then we actually need to do, so when we open it, we actually open a window. So we're going to make a statement here. We're gonna give it a static, so it should be able to be called from anywhere. And we're just gonna call it show window. If I could spell that correctly as well. Alright, so luckily Unity has a lovely function. So when you try to double click on any asset, we can ask Unity to check on what asset it, check if it is this asset we are trying to open. Alright, there we go. Alright, so we're going to check, so we need Unity, editor callbacks. We're gonna add a 1. Again, I actually don't know why we need a 1, I just know we need it. It's on the Unity website, it tells you that you should do that, so that's my reason behind it. And then we need to tell it what type of ID it has. To put it in layman's terms, everything out here has a Unity editor ID. We just can't see it. So we're using that ID to check, to tell it what item we actually clicked on. And then it also needs a line that we actually don't gonna use, but the method we are using requires a line for some reason. So simply because we are probably going to use the system. I can just add it now as well. So if we go up in the top and add system, when we add object, the problem with that is Unity and system has something called object. So we need to go into Unity engine and tell it precisely that it is the Unity engine object that we want and not a system object. So that's why I'm doing it this way. Just so you don't get trouble with your code later on. And then we want the editor utility dot instant ID to object. And we're then of course going to tell it what type of it is. It is a dialog. Yes, it is the dialog container. Oh yeah, we no. I'm completely wrong. That's not here. Need to give it the. There we go. My bad. So we're telling it what ID it should go for. So now it's simply going to find the right thing. So when we go inside here and double click, let's say this thing here, it will then throw this ID into Unity system and say, well, load the thing with this specific ID. So now we're going to ask it if the item is a dialog container, a scriptable object. And if it is that, we need to actually make it into a dialog. Oh, yeah. We'll need to make a new dialog editor window because we need to tell it it is this current window we actually want to make. So we need to go get window, and we want the type of window. Of course, the type of window we want is a dialog editor window. And we see at the right moment it's getting an error, and that's because we need to cast it. We can cast it by simply adding this in front. Then we're telling it this is supposed to be a dialog editor window. So now we have our window. Alright, so what do we want with our window? First we want to give it a title name. Oh. Title content name. And it should be Unity, what should we call it? Let's just call it dialog editor. Always rename it later. And next up, oh my bad. Next up we want to tell it the current dialog container, and that is of course the item we are getting, and we are telling it by putting as the as at the end, telling it we want it to read it as a dialog container. So this way it should convert it into a dialog container. Alright. Next up, we need to set a minimum size so you don't by accident make it so small you can't find it again. That has happened 2 times for me, where I made it so small I couldn't see it. So we're just gonna put the size on it for now. And then we of course want it to actually load. So later on it will actually, when we open it, it will also load in the data from it. So we don't need to actually load it ourselves. And then of course if you click on something that is not a dialog container, it should not open any windows. So let's just save this for now and go back into Unity. And under resources, we're simply just going to make a new dialog here. So if we double click on this now, you can see it opens up the dialog editor. Woo! Alright, so let's actually make some buttons and toolbars for this. Alright, and that we're going to do in the generate toolbar. So let's just take that. Oh, that's public. It should not be public. Private. And we're going to add that in on enable. So what tools are we actually going to need? Well, how about a toolbar? That's probably one of the better things. So we are going to add Unity Editor UI elements. Just gonna call it toolbar equals new toolbar. Alright, so we want a button for saving. So we want a save button. So we're going to make a button. Again, we need to add the reference, and that is yeah, I wonder what elements it actually use. I think it is, yeah, I think it's UI elements we need to do. I don't know if it actually does anything, but we're gonna save, and the short terms for button encoding is BTN. Alright, so let's see. So we going to make a new button, and inside that, oh, you can do that. Do you need to do this? No. Alright, apparently not. Why? Ah, it's just me as being stupid. Alright, here we go. Alright, so we make a new button, and we want it to tell when we are making the button. We also want the button inside the text to be equals to save. Oh yeah. And inside here you need to make a comma instead. So that's also it's good to know. And then let's just do this for now. Alright. And of course we want it to do so when you actually click the save button, it actually does the saving. So we need to go click and add this with a Luna expression. Here we go. To tell it actually to save. Oh. So let's just make a debug dot lag and call save. And let's make one in here, call that load. Meaning when we click this button, we will also save. But right now, there's nothing that actually saves anything. So that's first something to note. And after we are done all this, we need to actually add it into the toolbar. So we're gonna go add and add the button into the toolbar. Good. And now we can pretty much just copy paste this and go load. And oh, then we're gonna change all this in. Press Control H and just go save btn and change that outward load btn. And just do everything in there. That is one of the ways to do it. Let's see. Yes. Let's just go to this load button. So that's the two different buttons. Now we need to make the one for the language. So that's drop down menu for language. So here most will probably think, well, it should definitely be we'll call it I think there is a drop down menu. Yeah, drop down menu, but apparently I couldn't get that to work, so instead I found out there was something called toolbar menu, if I could spell that correctly, of course. Toolbar menu. Well, let's see. As you can see here, toolbar menu equals new toolbar menu. That's something. If I remember correct, we actually need to be able to reference this in other scripts later on. So we're actually going to add this to be a private value up here. So we're just gonna go private value, toolbar menu, and then roll down here, and then we just do this instead. This way we can reference this button as we like. Then we need to make one hell of a doozy thing here now, because we need to go through each language type as a language. However, we need to make it understand that it's the enum we're going through. So we're gonna go enum dot get values, and we want the type of value of the language type. However, to actually get this to work as well, we need to cast this as well as a language array. This is one of the only ways I have gotten it to work. So if you have any other ways that might actually work, feel free to, yeah, to add it in the description. Alright, so now we also need to go at each time, each of them has a menu, and we need to do a application action. And let's just hold the mouse over and see what does the application action needs. It needs an action, the name. And we need the name. It needs the action for what it's actually going to do. So we can add the name. That's just language.toString. Good. And now we need the action itself. We need to make a new action. However, it needs to be the type drop down menu action. It's not confusing at all. And then we need to actually tell it to go in and find um, the type language. Oh, not language, just language. Let me just check my notes. Oh, alright. So we actually need to go down to our language. I completely forgot. So the language down here actually is when you change the language, we need to tell it that it needs to get a language type, meaning it knows which language you're actually changing to. However, it also needs a reference to the toolbar itself. So we're just gonna go toolbar and go menu toolbar. So up here, it needs a reference to the language we are adding. So language, and then comma, and then the toolbar itself. I know this one here is extremely confusing, but that's how you do it. And then afterwards, you simply go toolbar, dot, add, and then we have menu, or toolbar menu, if I could spell that correctly. There we go. So now we add that into the toolbar as well. And yeah, let's add this so you can see which one you actually have open. Let's do that. So current dialog container. Oh, container you have open. I don't know if I add. Yeah, let's just add dots for all of them. Don't know why I felt like that. All right. And hmm. Yeah, what is that going to be? That's going to be the label, I guess. Yeah. So we're going to make a label named name of dialog container. Let's just do that. Oh, forgot to write it with a big. It's a little long name, but it's better to have long names, in my opinion, than names you don't know what is. Now that, uh, you should not have this long names, but for the sake of tutorial, I just want it to be as understandable as possible. Alright, so we are going to say toolbar dot add name. Oh yeah, we probably also need to actually name it somewhere. Mm. We should do that in. Should we do that in load? So when it loads it up, it actually adds it. Alright, let's do that. That means we need to have a reference in it in the tab. We're going to make a private bool and remove this one here and go when we load it. Let's just make sure it actually has a container. Let's just make sure we don't run into errors. So this one dot text equals. Let's add name colon. Let's just add a 1, 2, 3 plus current container dot name. Now it also shows the name of it as well. Let's save this. Alright. And we are also getting in there. Beautiful. Alright, so at the end we need to actually add the toolbar to our element, and that is root element visual dot add. And then we're just gonna add the toolbar to it. So this is a reference that is coming from the editor window, just so you know where it comes from. And we're gonna save this, and we should be able to see our toolbar now. There we go. Save and load. Oh, didn't I change the name of those? Probably didn't. Yeah. Whoopsie doopsie. There we go. Alrighty. Then let's try and close this down and open it up. Oh, it hasn't picked one in the beginning. No, it's not picking one. What to do? Let's go into language. Oh yeah, it's probably here that we actually changed it. So, So toolbar dot text equals. Oh, let's actually also have language, so we know language spaces dot language dot to string. Yeah, I think that should do it. Then we also need the graph view. No. Yeah, that's think that should do it. Let's have a look. Yeah. Now we just need to actually load this in the beginning as well. I think it should do that in the beginning. No. So why is it not loading that in the beginning? Guess we'll just go on the load. Oh, we can just go on the load and go language type dot English dot toolbar. There. Then it should load it in the beginning. If it at least, there we go. Alright, so we can see the name up here is a little offset, but let's just first check if the button works. So save works and load works. We can then change the name, language types. Right, so this is a little broken. So let's actually add a style to this. By doing that, we need to go into resources, right click, go in create, and going into UI element and pick the file called USS file. And we're going to call that, let's just call that, oh, I don't know what I want to call it. Let's see, let's just call it graph view. Let's just go with style sheet because it is a style sheet. Just so we know ourselves what it is. Style sheet. Right. So we need to load that as well. Let's just do that in toolbar. So we're gonna go root element dot. I think it's style sheet, right? Yeah, style sheet. Dot. Oh, dot add. Oh yeah, we need to get it first. Let's just make some spaces. So we need to make a style sheet. Let's just call it style sheet. And that is under resources. Dot load. And it is a style sheet. And then we need to tell it the name of it. I'm just gonna go in and copy the name. Just so I'm sure that it's the correct name I'm putting in. There we go. And we're going to add this into it. Alrighty. So now we also need a reference to this one down here so we can actually change it. So there we need to actually add a class to it. We're gonna go name of dot, what's it called? I think it's add to, yeah, add to classes. So we're gonna actually go in and make some web design now. Woo. Let's just give it the name of what it actually is named. And go save. Then we need to open up the style sheet. Just away with this. I think it's that we need to do. And then I hate this. Yeah. Let me first just find my notes. Because I can't remember because there's no intelligence in here. So we need to go like marking the top and tell it to go like 3 pixels down. What about padding? Padding right? Go like 5 pixels. Let's see, did that work? I need to click it again. Oh yeah, that seemed to work. It's definitely more down. Just to show that actually works, I'm just gonna add a ridiculous amount, and as you can see, it popped down quite a lot. But I find around 3 to be the right amount. If you want a little more spaces here, we can go marking. Let's see, right. Though I think it's left actually. Left. Let's just go 5 pixels. Have a look. And we can see 5 pixel spaces now. So that's how you actually add style sheet. We can also add style sheets to our buttons if we want to. So if we want the buttons to be bigger, we can do that. Or the toolbar itself, if we want that to be bigger as well. So that's something. But I think I'm going to end the episode here right now. So next time we are going to look into the graph view itself. So thank you for watching.